Hello everybody, welcome back again. We're going to go through a review today of a Euro game called, let me see, Brussels 1893. Brussels 1893, I've always put it in the wrong area, there you go. Well, I'll put it up on screen. So, big Euro game. The walkthrough, or the how to play video is already up on Board Game Nation, so you can just go up on and look at that. It is a massive video. I think it's over 50 minutes. So, you know, if you want, fast forward through it. I don't know. All the rules are in there, so if you really want to get a good grasp of how to play it, and you're unsure about certain rules, watch through it, and I tell you all the big rule pieces that I actually missed and went over after play, and kind of figured out. So I'm going to go through a little bit of what I usually go through. I go through the lengths, I go through the theme, the artwork, the rule book, the mechanisms, things I like, things I dislike, the overall thoughts of my rating. Okay, the BGG rating. So first of all, the length of the game, it's typically under 2 hours. Typically I go a little bit longer than that, and my friends go a little longer than that, just because we get up and we chat, and you know, we really don't like rushing through games. It has nothing to do with AP. But we do take a little bit longer, so you could, you know, reasonably think that maybe, you know, 2 hours and a half is fine. If you're not teaching, I would say an hour and a half. But it's going to take you a couple of times, or it certainly took me a couple of times to actually get all the rules down pat and understood into my head. I mean, there's a lot of rules that are... they're all simple. They seem to work. There's just things in the rules that that are exceptions to the rules, or things that change the rules, and you need to kind of know how they all work to really understand what you're doing. The theme, well, it's Brussels, you know, Art Nouveau movement. It's very neat. I think it's quite a beautiful game. I mean, the artwork is nice. I don't like this, let's see, the board, these things. I don't know. It's just me. I find it really weird. And then there's these little things right here that tend to get blocked, right? Or sorry, no, the picture gets blocked when you put your building over it, right? So all you have now to remind you of what the actual building does is this little thing at the bottom, which I just thought was kind of weird, and I just don't like the colors. But you know what? You shouldn't ask me about artwork, because I'm not an artist. So there you go. So yeah, the artwork is quite nice. The theme is there. The mechanisms work with the theme. I do like the fact that you have to have this worker placement action and you go out, but you kind of have to pay for it too. There's a little bit of, you know, you're paying, but you're using it as a worker, and then, you know, the person that has the most will get, you know, a prize. And they, in the rulebook, they kind of talk about how it simulates that you're, you know, working with the people in the city and kind of bribing them, but not, I don't know. But I do like that mechanism. I really like the bidding mechanism. It's just a worker placement action, but, you know, if you bid enough money, you're going to get that extra thing at the end of the round, and that is important. You need to get 1 or 2 of those each round, and if you don't, you're probably not in the running for the win. So I really like that. I like the worker mechanism, but there's also this other worker placement section, which is in the city section on the main board, that really works. And then you've got the sales action. You can sell and you can get victory points, and it moves around, and the noble goods and the non-noble goods, and there's lots there. There's lots and lots and lots and lots there. And it works fairly well together. It does make sense, and it's fluid and it's nice. The trick is, and this is one of my caveats, is it's really tough to remember everything. And this game does not come out as much as I would like it to. And the real reason is that every time I have to get it out, I have to sit down with the rules for an hour and read through them. Because I've done it before where I went, yeah, okay, yeah, you know, quick snippets, flip, 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 and you know, let's go, I know what I'm doing, and boom, I got some big major rule wrong, or, you know, I screwed up this, and wow, the points are completely off this game, and blah, blah, blah. So it's a little bit different. Like, I mean, one thing that I like about Ravenburg? Let me see. Ravensburg, there we go, Ravensburg games, unlike this was a Z-Man game, but they have their rules a little bit nicer, Ravensburg, and they always have that little column on the side that tells you, you know, how to play the game when, just as a refresher, and this doesn't. Like, I mean, as a rule book, it's dense. You know, it's really dense. So there's a lot there. I mean, it's well ordered, but it's hard to pull out those little sections, and you can tell just by I've defaced my game here. I've actually highlighted it and put check marks and this and that, just because if I don't in this game, oh my god, I forgot that. Oh, how could I have forgotten that? Well, because it wasn't highlighted, it wasn't bulleted, and so on. So this rule book, I mean, it's not bad if you want to learn how to play. If you want to remember how to play, it's kind of bad. It's not great. But there you go. I mean, there's a lot, you know, to be fair, there is a lot here. So, if, you know, every time I play this game, I really have to get the rule book out, read through it, or watch my how to play video, which is one of the reasons why I did it. So, yeah, it is a pretty deep game. Let's see what we're doing. We talked about the rule book, we talked about the art, we talked about the theme, mechanisms. We talked a little bit of the mechanisms. Well, I mean, all the mechanisms are great here. And there's a lot of them. Let's kind of think about it. You've got the public figure mechanism, which, you know, you have certain public figures, and you can use them each round if you have enough influence to use them, and so on. And then there's, you know, the auction, and the worker placement, and then you've got the kind of the sales and victory point, you know, column, and there's a lot there. Now, I will have to say one thing. It's a lot of them. There's so many mechanisms here that it feels like there's not much of a build-up, or there's not. You can't go so far with each of them. Like you either choose one and kind of push with it, or one mechanism and push through with it. For instance, building your buildings, right? You could get a lot of victory points through doing that, but you're going to need to focus on getting noble goods, and you're going to have to focus on doing the building structures, and you're not going to focus on your public figures, and you're not going to focus on necessarily selling or making art, although you're going to have to do a little bit of that. So there are different ways to go, but there's definitely a feeling that there's certain things that you're not going to get a lot of chances to do. And that's just maybe me. For instance, the public figures. There's not that many rounds in the game. How many rounds is there? I think there's 5 rounds. I forget. But, so that means you're only going to be able to activate public figures like 5 times. And even then, you know, so that means you have to buy your public figures fairly early into the game, and once you use that public figure, he's kind of done for the round. So, you know, I think I played one game where I went, oh, I want to get all these public figures and this is great, and I had a big lineup, and then I'm like, well, you know, I can't really use them, and they're going to cost me so much at the end of the game, because for each public figure that you have at the end of the game, how much is it? See, I'm getting into the rules again, and it's not good. I think it's -5 points or something, for each character that you can't afford to pay for at the end of the game. So really, are you going to get that much out of him? Right? That's a lot, right? So, yeah, I think I screwed up that rule. See, there you go. But there's a lot to think about, and there's a lot to do, but it kind of feels like sometimes you can't do everything that you want, right? Another game like that is Castles of Mad King Ludwig, I believe. It's the predecessor to Suburbia, and I find that game, you're building your castle, and then the game's over. And I hear this from a lot of people. So this kind of has that feeling, but it's much richer. I mean, there's a lot of choices in here, and the bidding really gets me. I really enjoy that. So things I like and things I dislike, well, I've kind of discussed a lot of that. I don't like necessarily coming back to this game and trying to relearn the rules. There is a lot to learn, and sometimes it can be tedious. It doesn't roll off. The rules just don't stay in my brain for some reason. But once you get them, it's a rich and vibrant game with a good theme and great mechanisms that all work together. And there's quite a bit to explore. It is definitely, if you want a little bit of a brain burn, this is it, because there's so much in the game. I wouldn't call it super elegant, but I would say that there's quite a bit there. And I love, this is a game that really uses bidding in a smart and great way when it comes to a Euro game. I think this is, if you like bidding and you haven't seen it in a good Euro game, this is definitely a game for you to check out. Overall thoughts, I like it. It doesn't get out as much as it should or as I want. There's other games that just are on the tip of you know, that are easier to get out, that, you know, have an easier rule set, and still have that big brain burn that I like. For instance, you know, Bora Bora, Trajan, there's 2 Stefan Phelps, you know, Terra Mystica, Nations. All these games are some of my favorite games, and you know, I really thought this was going to be one of my favorite games. I really thought that this was going to be, you know, in my collection for you know, long time, and I'll be, you know, played on a regular basis. And you know what? It's not going anywhere. It's staying in my collection, but it just doesn't come out as often, just because of that learning or relearning gap. So it is a good game. I would recommend it. When I first got it, I rated it as a 10 out of, or sorry, 9 out of 10. And it's gone down a little bit. It's probably an 8 out of 10 now. But it's still an excellent game. If you want a nice, big, meaty Euro, and this theme, you know, gets you, then this is a game that you can definitely try out. It's a really good game. If you like Euro games, you're going to like this game. And it is widely available. And it's a Z-Man game, or it's in the US, it's a Z-Man game, US and Canada. So try it out. If you have any thoughts, leave a message, and please give me a like. Thanks a lot.